Alright, so repairing jeans 101. So this is a pair of Levi's I just got from my customer. Back, actually. um, Very old. You can tell they're work jeans. And as you can see from here, I have already repaired some holes in it. And then there's a big old rip just right above where I did all the repairing. And there are some spots that I went over. This one is a new one. See, there was a little hole there. I repaired that, but I'm seeing a new one here. But as you can see, I'm going to need to stitch over that one a little bit too. Some of these little ones I just stitch over regularly. But the other ones, and see here, that at the pockets is coming apart. And sometimes I don't do this. I'll actually just get a lighter and I'll actually just cinch if it's starting to come apart. But when it's this bad, you pretty much just need to go over it with a stitch. Several rows of stitches so we get this denim holding together. I'm going to show you guys the back here. Let me put some of this stuff up. I'm not going to need this job here. But I repaired this pocket. We took it off and put it back on. There were some major holes from him putting pins and tools in his back pocket, which happens. Now, as you can tell, you can hardly tell. So, really nice. But we're starting to get one issue here. It's a little thin. But if it's just one little spot, I've never done this. So I'm going to try to squeeze this spot in. And I'm going to try to sew over it. But I think I can roll it up enough and be able to place it underneath the sewing machine and be able to sew that over. So let's lay these down here. So I usually use denim thread. Oh, so sorry. I ordered this on Amazon. It's a really, really good stuff. It's really strong thread. So that's what I use. If you don't have denim thread, just find a color that remotely matches the color of the denim. And if this doesn't match, I will actually go to my regular thread and just find something that's going to blend in real nice. Before I would order these cheap little iron-on patches, and I always keep my leftovers. And sometimes these have their instances, like this same gentleman, I had to back some of the patches. The material behind the patches was coming apart, and so we needed to reinforce it. And these were the perfect size. So in some instances, you're going to want to use these. But for most of my denim repairs, I go to this. It's a professional repairing material. It's got glue on this side. And then this other side is like a denim. And it's pretty rough, as you can see. But I love it because I have a whole lot of room that I can repair. It's not just a set amount. And yes, I keep all my extras because you never know when you're going to need a little piece for a little hole. And we actually may use it on this one. So let me go through the steps. I'm going to get all this stuff moved. And this is one thing. When you're shoving denim through a sewing machine, make sure you got your sewing table cleared off, or you're just going to have issues. So we're going to get everything cleared out here. And I'm going to show you guys this one that needs repaired. We're going to turn it inside out. Whoa, that is a good hole. I got my hand straight through it. So here we go. Here's that patch that I did before. And as you see, I actually went over with it. And it stayed pretty good until it got up here and it actually came into contact with this new tear. Which could have happened from numerous things. Tools, snagging on a piece of wire or barbed wire, you know, just anything. Just anything. And as you can see, this is the seam. This is the outer, let me try to get, this is the outer seam. And this is the inner one. This one has 2 different stitches that you would need to take apart. And it's really, really thick. The easiest way, if you're going to repair jeans, take out that inner seam. And it is serged on the ends, but you don't need to worry about that. You're just going to take apart that seam, and it's really easy to find. But that's what we took apart for this, and we have no choice. This is too far down. Well, I don't know. It may not be too far down. Let me see here. Yeah, it's too far down. I just wanted to see for sure. Now, if you've got something that's like right here, just below the pockets or the pocket area, you can probably wing it and just shove it through your machine. Or the back pockets, a lot of times you'll get weak spots there by the corners of the pockets. Yeah, you can just stuff it underneath the sewing machine, but I have found these big holes in the legs, it's just better just to take apart the seam. And so we're going to have to start pretty much right underneath this Levi. We want to make sure we have plenty of room to where we can open this out and really apply a piece of that mending fabric to the back of it and iron it on really, really good. And then we're going to be able to very easily go underneath the sewing machine to actually repair this. Now, some people love this rugged look. Some people, I would actually just do like a piece of fabric or another iron-on patch and then surround it with a bigger one. And then I would actually just sew around the edge. Because a lot of people like this look, and some people don't. These are, work jeans. He is a professional man, so I'm going to help him to stay professional. So we are going to completely cover this up and try to sew over it the best that we can and make sure that it is very, very secure. So you can remove your stitches any way that you want. It's usually my go-to, just a standard seam ripper. It's a big one. You may not have a big one. You may just have a small one. Perfectly, perfectly fine. I think I have a small one up here. Yeah. See, even if you have this, it's fine. And I like this because it has a little carry case with it. So what we're going to do, we want to take apart this outer seam, not the inner seam, the outer seam. As you see here, the outer seam. That's what we want to take out. And as you will be able to see here, let me get my spectacles on. So I want to go about, 1.5 to 2 inches above. That's where I want to start. And if you spread it out enough, you're going to be able to find, yes, a stitch. And then you're just going to be able to keep on going. Oh, these get heavy. especially if they're real jeans. And this is one of the easiest seams to sew back together because you see the discoloration between everything. So it's really, really easy to see it, and it's really easy to see if you actually missed it also. But some professional tailors and people that do mending professionally, they use a razor blade. I am not that comfortable with myself yet. So I still use a seam ripper. Tried and true. Some people either use their scissors. You can use your little snips if you want to, but I'm already repairing this. I do not want to be doing any more repairing than what I'm working on right now. So we got quite a ways to go here. But this is the easiest way I have found to open up jeans or even pants, so I can really get in there, get everything predominantly flat, and get it sewed. Because when I sew on that iron-on patch, I want it to be flat. And then plus, if you've done any of this, you know you cannot stick a leg underneath a sewing machine on one side and sew it up and down. There's you just can't do it. So this is the only way. Now I want to go down a little bit because I'm going to go back and sew over that. So I'm going to go just a little bit further, and we will be able to open up. And as you see, I've just been talking a couple of minutes, and we already got it open. And sometimes I'll go a little more because you want that little wiggle room, or it's going to be, and this is nothing, that's just a few more stitches. I'm going to do a couple more up here. Okay, so we're going to go through. We're going to clean up what we can see on this side. Get all those out of the way. I can't stand the idea of sewing over these. It just, to me, it's just tacky. So I go through, take my time, clean out all this so everything is nice and neat, and I won't have to pull these out of stitches later on. Alright, that's pretty clean. I'm gonna snip off this one here. Okay. Alright. So that's pretty clean. Now what we're going to do, see what I want to do here, is I want to open this up to where I can work from the back side and the front side. As you can see, I'm going to need some more room here. Let's sew down really good there. So now we can get in somewhat. Sometimes it's just good just to get the whole Alright, so we are back at the ironing board. While I'm talking, let me get this iron activated. And as you can see, that is the hole right there. And I've got some pins here just to try to keep it in place for me a little bit better. But I'll usually just measure these by sight. So you see why we wanted a lot of area cut out is to be able to get in here, get it stretched and flattened out the way it's supposed to be. So sometimes while I'm doing this measuring, I'll put in some pins through my ironing board here so it stays flat for me. Now I think I'm just going to use the width of this, and I want to go over a little bit, so we'll do that and about that. And I'm still not going all the way over to a seam, and then I will cut. Try to make it predominantly straight because you are going to be sewing around the edge of it. That's what I do. So let's get this piece ready to iron. You don't need to take anything off on this. You do have a film on the iron-on patches, but not this. So we're just really going to put it down where we want it. I want to get all this extra fabric from underneath. And see, I'm going over this one spot from the original patch. But I'm going to make sure everything's stretched out nice. I'm going to get my pins out of here. And let's get to seaming in place. So I'm going to get started. It keeps moving on me. You just got to keep working with it. Make sure that hole is all together and it's not stretched out. So we're going to get started on this side. And just go over kind of on top if you have to, like I'm doing here. But you just want to get it as flat as you can so we can get this ironed. Get all this material moved out of the way. We're going to be sewing around this edge anyways, but you want it to be staying in place. And that's really the only area I have trying to get to. Is that one corner up there. There, we got her. Let me take out all these pins here, because they're not helping me much anymore. They're kind of getting in the way. You want to go over that edge. Make sure there's a real nice seal. Alright. And there we go. Now you do want this to set so it dries. But I'm going to try to not move it for a few seconds, and then we will go back to our sewing machine. Okay, so here we are. It's nice and cool, and it's sealed pretty good. You're going to get your little lift ups here at the corners. That's why I go over the whole area of the patch with a really small stitch. And then if we just turn it around, we're going to be able to get behind there with the sewing machine. But as you see, that's a real nice seal. Everything, all these little extras are in there pretty firm. So it's going to be pretty easy to stitch. I've got my denim thread in here already. And really all we're going to do is go up and down, up and down, up and down. Over, because the lines of the stitching, you can see they go up and down, and so that's what I just try to mimic here. And it covers all the white, and it almost completely blends in. Not completely, but before we do that, I want to go over to the back side and see the back side, and we're going to do that tight stitch all the way around. And this is real time, y'all. Real time. I do have it at the center position, my needle, and I am doing a 2.5. I will back stitch really good. And see, that one part that was coming apart on that other patch, it may have been because I was too close to the edge and it didn't stay. But through them wearing it and washer and dryer, yeah, go ahead and give you about an 1/8 inch. From the edge on this, so you got plenty of room. But this is just to really secure the patch on, and then we're actually going to go over that bad area. This is the toughest spot to get to, because it's towards that other seam. Almost there. Okay. Let's turn again. This is where denim gets really fun. But I've never gone through and actually shared how I do this. I can tell you one thing. With mending, one of the biggest influences on YouTube is Downtown Tailoring. If you guys know who she is, she's amazing. But 1/8 of an inch. Again, we're only doing a 2.5. I want to make sure this patch stays on through all the washing and everything. But you learn these things with experience, you know. And I love my customer. He never complains. He just brings them back to me. And so when I see certain things, I'm like, I should have done that. And as you see, we're going to be going over this spot where that other patch was coming off. So it's going to be nice and secure. Okay, one more side, and then we'll start repairing. I want to make sure I go over that real good. Okay. Get all this out. Let's get our threads cut here. Yeah, that looks a lot firmer. A lot firmer. And you may see it going across through the center where it's wore out quite a bit, but I've never heard him complain about it. But it's keeping that patch real together, and unless you're just really, really close, you're not going to be able to see that line. And it just keeps the patch really nice and secure. And so now we're going to start going over really tight to try to mimic the lines of the denim. And I always start on one end and go towards the other end, so it's going to be easier just to go this way. And you're going to be able to see. It's going to be, you're going to be moving the fabric while you're in a reverse and going forward. It just takes a little bit of practice. And once you get going, you'll just be like, whoa, this is actually kind of relaxing. I never thought actually sewing for so long on denim would be relaxing, but it can be once you get the hang of it. So we're going to slide it underneath the machine right where we start having these issues. And that's where I'm going to start. I usually go just a little bit over where I need to start. But I think we're just going to go up and down. And make sure you don't have any gaps. If you do, go back like I just did there. And just keep on going. And some places, you're just going to have to go over twice. But once you see the end result, and you see how secure it is, and it's a lot of stitching, but it's worth it. Just try to be as straight as you can. Sometimes it'll get a little crooked like it just did on me there. And I just straightened it back up. And just keep on going. And once you get comfortable, you can speed it up a little bit. But if you're not comfortable, don't worry about it. That looks pretty nice. All right. I'm going to readjust, make sure I'm going even so I don't get crooked again. There we go. But I'll usually go over a little bit and then go back and cover up all the white that's there. And go over a little bit more. I think I may have to re-thread before I get done here. I really didn't think it all the way through. Alright, we are almost halfway through, and I can see what I did on this side, and there is nothing coming through that, y'all. And there's just a little bit left here. So I'm going to realign and keep on going. Back, and then forward. Oh, missed a spot there. I'm going to go back over it. And you're really just controlling it with this one hand. So it takes a little bit of strength, but you're just trying to guide it, whether you need to go more to the left or more to the right with this hand. But once you get used to it, it won't be that complicated for you. You may need to just take a break or get readjusted. But this really secures this tear in these jeans and make sure that nothing's going to go back through them again. And you can do the fashionable ones where you just sew around the edge. And the little extras are actually going to hang over that stitch line, so you won't see any stitches whatsoever. I just know these are going to be work jeans. And so I am making them as sturdy as I can, so they last a little bit longer. Now I gotta readjust my hand because I'm running out of room between my presser foot and my hand here. So I'm gonna move my hand back out a little bit and keep going. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a sneak peek. I think I do need to rethread my bobbin. I'm going to show you guys how this looks halfway through. Yeah, it's almost out. You'd be surprised how long this thread lasts. I had no idea it would even. But not too bad. And if this wasn't so wore out, it would actually go really good with the fabric. But that's pretty solid. There is nothing, and you can feel it. It is, you can barely even bend it. It's so tough and secure. But yeah, that's how I repaired the jeans, and these will be good to go for a long time. A long time now. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna rethread. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of this, and then I'll go and show you guys the other little spots that I'm going to repair on these jeans. Oh. Okay, so here we go. We got this all sewed together. As you can see here, that looks real nice. Real thick and firm. Real nice and thick. And as you see, we went an 1/8 inch to make sure this doesn't come apart in the wash. I back stitched really, really good. But that is done. And so now all we're going to do is take this leg and we are going to match up, as you see here, match up where it was stitched and then fold it back. And I'm going to use my clips and we are going to clip. But we're just going to keep going, and I just line it up like it was stitched and then fold up. And sometimes these edges will be off a little bit, so this is why I do it this way. and sometimes they will move and shift on you, but just match it back up and clip. And if this is all you needed to do to the jeans, you're almost done. So last little area, just make sure it lines up real nice and even, where you can tell where it was stitched together before. And if you look on this side, you can usually tell right there. Right there is where the stitch line is. But you can just flip it over and decide which side you want to go. But I think this side, it's pretty much predominantly for me. So I'm still going to use a 2.5. I am almost out of my denim thread, but I most definitely want to use the strong denim thread, what's left of it, to actually sew up this leg back together. But I started pretty much below that, but I'm going to actually pull back this Levi's tag here. I'm going to pull it back because I'm going to go back a little bit. I want to make sure this is really secure. So we're just going to go find that line. There we go. Back stitch real good. And you're just going to keep following that line where you can see that they went with the stitches before. And you can mark it if you want, if you're not for sure. You can always do that. But you can usually see, and sometimes there'll be leftovers left, so you'll be able to match back up where your line is. And I can tell by my little extras down here where I ended. I think I'm gonna have enough thread. I may even have enough thread to finish some of the spots. And I'm gonna go over that line, back stitch, and we're good. Cut my threads here. And there we go. We got that sewed together really good. Now the moment of truth. Let's oh, I got some more threads here. I forgot. Okay, I think that's good. Let's get this turned right side out. Alright. And this is what we just sewed back. And looks just like it should be. And we'll press it real good, but as you see, if you just line them up and then fold them up, you will be good to go. But it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I went out a little in that area. Do you guys see that? That doesn't look good compared to the rest, does it? So, since I'm one of those people, We're going to turn it right back side out, and we're going to re-sew that area. I want to be sure that I hit it. I'm going to get a safety pin here. Well, let me find one here. I'm going to get a safety pin here. And I'm going to mark where that starts. But I'm going to go out a little bit away so I don't sew over the safety pin when I'm sewing here. And this won't poke me when I'm turning it inside out. But where we had the safety pin was the start of that area. Oh, you guys see here? I started about right here. And where this really has issues is right there. So, oh, I see here. I think the issues that we had are the original stitches actually coming apart. So I'm going to go, yeah, you can see where the area is. And then up here, it's nice and tight. So this isn't from me stitching it wrong. It's the original stitches that are not holding together very good anymore. So we are going to go over that. So, and I thought it was going to be my area, but we're going to go right below. Let me just show you that seam for the pocket. I'm going to go right below because that's where it starts. Is right there. You can see that one gold stitch. That's where we want to start. So I'm going to start like right here. So I've got a couple of stitches to help me out. I'm going to fan out this pocket. Well, that makes it worse. I'm just going to go as high as I can. And it's pretty, it's bumpy. But yeah, I can see the tear in the fabric now. And this chain stitch, I'm scraping against it. And it's like it just wants to come apart. So I'm going to try to get this laying flat. It just doesn't want to lay flat for me. And I think that's probably the issue. Okay. And it's like they stitched that area underneath that pocket differently, and then they went with a chain stitch. But we're going to go over it. And I'm going to go just to the left of where I can see the actual wear and tear. But I'm going to start here regularly. Uh-oh. Make sure you got a long enough thread or it will come out on you. Let me get this threaded again right quick. Whoa. I don't have very much left, so it's sticking on me. Let's go ahead and rethread here. Let me recut. But it's amazing. I thought that spot was going to be from us missing, but my thread is not wanting to pull through very good. Oh, It was getting unhooked, y'all. It's pulling through nicely now. So, I'm sure if you're a sewer, we run into a lot of little things on our way, don't we? Okay. So we're going to try this again here and get back to where my line is. And I'm just going to go as far back. There's a lot of bulk from that pocket, so I'm just going to go back as far as I can. And it doesn't want to move very well because it's all bulky back there. Okay. Now we want to go just to the left of this chain stitch because we're seeing that's where the issues are. So I'm going back maybe an 1/8 of an inch past that area, and then I will line up with my stitch down here and I can see it. We want to make sure that's nice, but I'm just going to gradually go into mine and then back stitch. And let's see how we did. Let's see if that's what we want here. One more thread. Okay, here we go. I may have gotten a little too close, but I can iron that out. But that looks so much better, y'all. And that was a good step. You can kind of see where we fanned out, but we're going to be able to iron that over. But as you see, you're not seeing that damage from the original stitch. And it was coming apart, and so we needed to fix that, and we sure did. So I'm going to take this out. All right. So this pocket isn't too bad. I like to go a lot over the areas, and sometimes I will just take my lighter here, and it kind of, I think it kind of crustifies the actual fabric trying to come off, and it gets rid of all of the little fringes. You're not actually burning it. You're actually just cinching it, so it's a lot sturdier. That you used to be able to tell, but now it doesn't, and it's not too hard. So if you've got those little spots, you can just cinch them a little bit, and they're nice now. Sometimes you'll get them there. You see how that is? We're just going to go over that lightly and get rid of some of those extras and pat it down. And you can't even tell that you went over it with a lighter, but it's a lot more firmer now that we did that. And you can keep going, scraping your nail. I still see some. And then go back over it again. And there we go. That's pretty nice. And it doesn't really feel any different. And you probably postponed this actually continuing to come apart. So it works. But as you see with this one, it is really coming apart. So we're going to run a couple of stitches across and here at the end, and it's going to be really hard to get to. But we're just going to get as close as we can and try to sew that down. Try to keep it from continuing to come apart. But like I said, You're just going to try to go through that top layer of that pocket. Get as close as you can. I'm going to push back the fringes. Just get as close as you can. Okay. And we're just going to follow the line at the top of this pocket. And most of this is going to blend pretty well. But you're just going to have to work with it. Just make sure you're just going through that top pocket area. Push back the stuff that's coming apart so it lays flat. If you need some help, you can use a flat pin here, and that'll hold it down for me until I get there. Okay. I did a little extra there, which is fine. Okay. There we go. And you can hardly see the stitches, y'all. This thread is amazing. I need to obviously get some more ordered. But you can barely see the stitch line. We're going to do one more, and we're going to go right above that top gold stitch to seal in the top part. Really good. Let me get pulled out here so we don't come undone while I'm stitching. I am almost out of thread, but I think it'll make it. So let's do one more here. Shove this underneath here and get as close as we can. Bring it out past, and you can smooth everything over, and then slide back down, and we're good. But just back stitch and back up as far as you can, and that's as far as I can. But I'm either going to go over the top of that gold stitch, or I'm just going to go right above it. I'm trying to go right above it, but just get as close as you can so you can seal in that top part, or it's just going to keep coming apart here. And this one is really bad. This area. Okay. I think that's close enough. Alright. And you could feel the difference. Like it's a lot more sturdier now. It's a lot more sturdier. And see, you can barely tell that I went over. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to clean up. I'm going to snip off all the extras, and then I'm going to singe it like I did the other stuff. But I don't want all these extras and the leftovers from it. I will singe off, and it will seal up this fabric. But just go over and clean it up a little bit where it's tearing. So that already looks a lot cleaner. And now we're going to go over it like this. And make sure that seals up really good. There we go. That looks a ton better than it was. We'll go a little bit on the surface here. And some of them will catch, but just rub them off and you can barely tell. But this makes it to where these last, or you would have to actually take apart the whole pocket, the waistband, I mean everything, and you would have to actually re-sew this together and actually unfold this denim and actually repair it and then fold it back and hem it back and sew everything else together. So that would be a lot. And there is a spot here that I showed you guys, and we're just going to go over it real quick like on the machine. Got a little bit of thread left. But before I start shoving through, I'm going to lift up that pocket. You're going to have to lift up your presser foot and get everything situated here. And I want to be sure this pocket and everything is pushed back, because I do not want to be sewing over it. And like before, I'm just going to go up and down, up and down. I'm going to go a little to the left of where the damage starts. And I'm just going to keep gradually moving over to my right. I am almost out of thread here. So I'm going to try to just get through it as best as I can here. And that is it. My thread is out. But I got it covered real nice. So that worked out. That worked out. Alright. So as you see here, we just went over it with a few stitches. See how well it blends in? And it's a lot more firmer than it was before. But let's cut off our extras here. And that a part of the jeans is good. Oh, there it is on the inside. Trim your ends. And there we go. Now that is a repaired leg. And then we've got this big one repaired. So the legs are doing good. I'm not sure if I'll be able to actually sew over this, but I do need to do something about this. But I'll probably go on my free time. But it looks like I may be taking off the pocket. I may do another video on it to show you guys, but that takes a lot more work. We got to get out our gold, take apart everything and sew over it. I just don't think it's to the point where I really need to go through that trouble. Let me see here while you guys are on here. Let's see if there was just one little spot. If there's a way to separate the pocket enough from the actual denim, and yeah. Nope. It's probably why I've never tried it before. But you literally, if you're going to repair these pockets, you could iron on a patch, but it may not last too long. But that may be all that I'll do, and I always give everything a good press before I send it on back. But, sometimes if they're just starting to show signs, I'll just, apply a piece of the mending fabric to the back of it. Of course, this is not going to be a permanent, very detailed fix. So if you do want something more permanent, which is what I may have to end up doing, I am going to have to actually re-sew this pocket on, but we'll do that. Maybe off camera, just so I can get this this job back to the customer. But yeah, sometimes, you don't think there's much wrong with the jeans, and then you start looking and you're like, oh, we got problems. See, there's all sorts of stuff at the bottom of the belt buckles. See how that's starting to come apart? Just trim off the edges with your scissors and cinch it a little bit so it seals in those threads. There we go. But the waistband is another area, and I'll just go over it. And it's almost like it's brand new and, no issues whatsoever. But yeah, when you pay attention to these details, your customer is going to notice how much you paid attention to these details. And I can tell you right now, they're going to be very appreciative. So that's it for this one. I'm glad you guys stayed along with me. So repairing jeans, I'm sure we'll come across and do some more. I could do the pockets with you guys, but it's another hour-long video. It takes a little bit more work, but it's doable. So you're taking off the pocket, you're repairing the denim, and then you're actually sewing it back on. And most of the time you look, and there's 2 rows of stitching. And I stitched one back with just the gold, just 2 lines of the gold. But you need to have a long stitch length to match what the original pocket had. And so I was doing a 4.5 to a 5. And he was getting holes through the seams, down here. So it wasn't even holding it. And so what I actually do with my denim thread or regular blue thread, I will go over really, really tight, like a 2.5. Maybe a 3 if you have to. But I go over it real nice and tight along this line, and then I go over it with the gold, with the wide stitch length, so it looks neat. But this is something I have just, learned. Just repairing these and sometimes having stuff returned back to me because something else is coming apart. So I like to be able to share this because sometimes you don't know these things. And you can search for videos and videos on repairing jeans, and a lot of people won't talk about these things. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time.